this lesson, let's talk about how to split up that pie. Okay, so this one is about allocating your funds and how to manage that risk. Let's get going. So, for allocations, I kind of think of it this way in a simple manner. To make it easy, it's almost like how I think about bonds. So it's an inverted relationship, meaning the lower the risk, the more money I could allocate toward it. And the higher the risk, the lower the amount of money I allocate toward that. Now let's look at it from an actual practical investment point of view in an equal risk scenario. Let's break it down. So, if these are my numbers for this scenario, let's say I have $100,000 and that equals 100% of my total portfolio, the total amount of liquid assets I have to put into investing. So the math is actually kind of easy. My $1,000 would be equal to 1%. And if that's my risk tolerance for anything I want to invest in, that's pretty simple to figure out. And so if I look at one scenario where it's a medium risk investment, let's break it down. This is the most math you're gonna do in my series. Okay, let's break it down to medium risk investment, and let's just say it's a small company stock that you think has a lot of upside, so it might go up to 2x 3x on the upside, and I put $5,000 toward that investment, which is 5% of my total portfolio, right? So my upside return for this investment would be somewhere between, say, $10,000 to $15,000, right, on a $5,000 investment, which means overall I'm adding about 5 to 10% towards my total portfolio. So that's my upside potential. And to limit my downside, like I said, 1% is $1,000. So I put a 20% stop loss, and if it goes down to $4,000, I pretty much sell and limit the amount of my downside to $1,000. All right, that's not bad. Okay, so here is scenario 2. But this time, I'm looking at something that I would consider a high risk opportunity. But the upside is significantly more. Maybe I could get a 20, maybe a 30x on that investment. So I lower the amount that I put into it. I put in the 1%. I put in $1,000. That's an assumed risk of 1%. My potential upside is actually really good, though. It's $20,000 to $30,000 if I actually am going to be right on this one, which means I'm increasing my overall portfolio by 20 to 30%. And if I just assumed that because it's high risk, I might lose it all, that's a $1,000 loss, which is only 1%. So my risk to reward ratio is actually really, really good. Okay, so how does this actually apply to the stuff I invest in real life? Well, when I look at medium risk companies, I kind of go in knowing that, well, there's reasonable upside. The company might not be as well known as like what everybody would know, but that's the upside potential. But this is the hard part. With the medium risk and knowing that I want to limit my downside, This is actually harder to do for some people, so just fair warning. Some people, when they invest in things and they see it go down, they don't have the emotional discipline to actually sell at a loss. You have to go in knowing you have to be unemotional about losing this $1,000, and you have to sell at a loss. You have to know going in that, yes, there's a potential to lose money, and no, I do not want to hang on hoping that the stock will bounce. That's the hardest part about things like this. On the other hand, I actually find the high risk scenario easier to comprehend, because if it goes all the way down to near zero, well, it is what it is. It's kind of done. So high risk investments that I would consider would be things like crypto, things like stock options, where I know going in that when stock options expire, they're actually will have the potential to expire worthless. This is actually easier for me to comprehend because I already know that limit is kind of built into my loss, right? Like, I don't have to think about losing that money later. I know going in that I have the potential already to lose it all. So in a lot of ways, this is actually easier for me to comprehend. I do everything at the same time. I have low risk, medium risk, high risk. So if you're disciplined, that's the part where you have to learn about how to limit your losses and know what they are going in ahead of time. And this is what things like your financial planner would do when they invest in things. This is what, these are the things that if you look at a mutual fund stock, you could kind of break it down and say, oh, they put most of their money into low risk. They put some of their money in medium risk, and they put very little money into the high risk. And so this is the strategy which pretty much everybody kind of should understand and use to maximize their potential, but minimize their risk. That's it for this video. Catch you on the next one. Thanks.